doing the dishes. So like, I wasn't even paying attention when I dropped him.
So you thought he was on the ground and you let go? Is that what happened?
And he fell like that and hit the back of his head.
Today we're looking at a case that has haunted the criminal justice system for over 15 years. In 2009, a 16-month-old boy named Benjamin Kingan died at a daycare center in Illinois. What followed was an interrogation that produced a confession, and a conviction that has been challenged ever since. Benjamin was a toddler, bright-eyed and trusting in the way only small children can be. His family handed him over to people they believed would keep him safe. That trust was shattered. But what actually happened in that interrogation room? And does the confession tell the whole story? We're going to walk through the footage together, and I want you to watch closely. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, because this one gets complicated.
Before we continue to talk, we've got some questions to ask you regarding the incident. Obviously, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
About is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Prior to that, anytime we interview anybody, we're obligated to have to read you what's called your Miranda rights. You know, the right to remain silent in that. It's routine and protocol for us anytime we talk to anybody. So if you wouldn't mind, Sean's going to read you these.
The standard procedure. Basically, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court or other proceedings. You have the right to talk with a lawyer for advice before you ask you any questions, and have him with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you free of any cost to you before questioning if you wish. Do you understand all those?
Yes, I do.
Just sign your name. I read these to you.
Fixed.
Excuse me.
I'll be right back.
Thank you. Get that out of the way. So,
And like a while back, I went through this kind, not this kind of stuff, but similar, because my case got dropped.
maybe what department was that with?
4110. Small.
In this room here. Sorry about that. Listen, what were you saying? What about crisis?
I went through like a case a while back when I was 19, 20, and I was like put through like counseling and Belgian for that something happened on King County property a while back, but then my case got dropped. People versus people, so the guy walked away.
Okay.
So,
Did you get arrested for that?
no.
What was the?
I wouldn't know how to say. It's been a while, but it was like with like harm, rape, and all that other stuff. And like my case got dropped and all that because they didn't find enough like evidence or whatever. So.
They accused you of raping someone?
No, the guy, and it was on a forest preserve property and everything.
A guy raped you?
Yeah.
Besides for that instance where you were a victim,
Yeah.
did you ever have any other run-ins with the police?
No.
Okay,
Never.
good.
Pretty much Tom Carpentersville knows who I am.
Oh, really?
Sometimes.
Is that where you grew up too?
Yeah, and they know my dad, so.
Okay.
He's friends with the judge.
A lot of policemen like them fish and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's, why don't we go back to, was it Wednesday?
Yeah.
When this all happened? In general, what I like to, now you've had a couple of days to kind of relax and, kind of think. Things maybe are a little clearer on what happened that day. We find out sometimes that after a day or two of people just getting themselves together, that's a pretty traumatic experience. They tend to start remembering a little more fact, a little more detail of what occurred. And the way I usually like to do this is I like to start out from the beginning of that day. Let's see, you got up.
Yeah.
You got yourself, ready for work?
Ready for work.
About what time was that?
I left at like 6:50.
So this was Wednesday morning, about
Yeah.
6:50. And you drive yourself into work?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So right off the bat, they're reading her Miranda rights. Standard procedure, they say. And look, she signs without hesitation. No lawyer requested. No pause to think about what she's walking into. Here's what the clip doesn't tell you. This interrogation is going to last hours. And by the end of it, Melissa Calusinski will confess to killing Benjamin Kingan. A confession she will later recant entirely, claiming it was coerced. But notice what she does here. She's trying to connect with them, mentioning her dad knows cops, talking about a past case where she was the victim. She thinks this is a conversation. It isn't. This is the setup, and she has no idea what's coming.
Go ahead, just go through your
Well,
day.
I didn't get there till like 8:20. That's when I clocked in.
And who was there when you got there?
Wendy, she's the head teacher,
Okay.
and a few other staff, along with my sister Crystal.
Who were the other staff?
I believe it was. Her name was the other one. I think it was Wendy with a W,
Okay.
and then Kristen. These were other staff that were with that because our kids before in the morning we'd keep them all in one room. They were in the baby room, and then when we had like 13, we split them in half, and then bring my kids with Wendy into our room.
Okay.
So, and when I got there, that's when we split them in half.
Is that like a required number? You can
Yeah.
only have so many kids in a room?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the maximum amount of kids?
For right now, for the toddlers, the infants, it would be infant toddlers. It would be like a ratio of 4 for one teacher.
Okay, 4. But you could have 8 to 12 if you have, let's say, 3 teachers in one room?
Yeah, up
Okay.
to 12, you can have 3 teachers.
Okay, all right. Okay, go ahead. So you got there, these were the people there, you got there about 8:20.
And then I helped get my kids into the room with Wendy,
Mhm.
and everything was perfect.
How many kids?
There was 8 in my
8
room
kids,
today.
so it was you and Gwendy,
Yeah.
all right, and 8 children,
Mhm.
including, what's the child's name? Ben? All right, go ahead.
And when
What
we brought them
time,
in,
I'm sorry, what time do you think you got in there with the kids, with your group?
about like 8:30.
8:30?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
8 kids, 2 teachers, a ratio of 4 to 1. She's rattling off daycare regulations like she's reading from a handbook. And here's the thing, she's not wrong. Illinois state licensing requirements for toddler rooms do mandate that ratio. But watch how the timeline starts to blur. She clocked in at 8:20. Kids split into rooms by 8:30. 10 minutes to account for. And in an interrogation room, those 10 minutes are going to matter more than she realizes. What strikes me here is how cooperative she's being, how detailed. She's not lawyering up. She's not hedging. She's handing them a roadmap of her morning and trusting they'll use it fairly.
Like lunch that you brought or anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then sometimes what the directors want us to do, and my boss, is sometimes, with lunch, we would actually sometimes eat with the children because they get more comfortable with
Okay.
that, so.
So,
So
1 o'clock.
You already ate your lunch when the kids ate?
No,
Oh,
but
on your break,
unlike
is it?
sometimes we usually do that, but then when we're on our break, most of us clock out, and then either they start up their car, they go out to like the store or something, and then after that they come back in, and we're very quiet when we come back in.
So when you actually do physically punch a clock?
Yeah,
Okay.
fingerprints.
Oh, it's a fingerprint scan?
Yeah.
Where's that located? Is that
It's
somewhere?
at the front desk.
So you walked over to the front desk,
Yeah,
scanned your finger,
to punch out,
To
and
punch.
then I went back in my room.
okay, and that took 5 minutes?
Not even.
Not even?
Do
Okay.
you smoke?
Huh?
Do you smoke cigarettes?
No.
I just wondered, like a lot of
Yeah,
times people
no.
leave on a break to go.
They smoke, yeah, no.
Do girls you work with smoke? Do they?
I think some do, but none of the teachers. That
Oh,
work with
they go
them.
outside?
Yeah, or they either go to as they drive to go get food or something
Okay.
like that.
So you came back in and the kids were still asleep?
Mhm.
Okay, and this is all around 1:30.
Yeah,
Did Nancy leave or did she stay?
she was still in there.
She's still there?
Yeah, she was helping out, and I was on my break,
So it was you, Nancy, and
And
Wendy. Okay. Then what?
We were just keeping an eye on the kids, pretty much, and as they were, as they were finishing stuff up, I was keeping an eye out on the kids. And
Is who was finishing stuff up? Wendy and
Nancy.
what were they doing?
They were finishing cleaning up.
Cleaning up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the kids started waking up at some point, or?
They didn't wake up till like after 2:30.
Okay. What did you have to punch back in?
Yeah, after my hour
Okay. So you left the room again.
to punch in. And
What time was that at?
It was like after like 2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay. And you were gone a couple of minutes again?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I came back in. And once I came back in, because Nancy didn't leave until I was actually officially in the room.
Okay. So you come back in and then Nancy leaves?
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is 2 o'clock, and now the kids are awake, or they're still asleep?
They're still sleeping.
Okay. And what are you guys, just watching them?
Yeah, we make sure they don't roll off their cots.
Okay.
And
And then what time did they start waking up?
after 2:30, I don't.
So 2:30, the kids start, around 2:30, you start
Yeah.
waking up, and then what?
Once they start waking up, we write down the times of when they woke up, and then generally, like, it's usually usually one of the 2 that are still in cribs. They're usually the first ones. Pick them up. We take them out of the cribs or off the cots. And then-
Ben's not in the crib though, right?
No, he was on a cot.
Okay, and his twin sister?
She was on a cot.
Okay.
They were almost like right next to each other.
Okay,
So, but we would start changing their diapers as soon as they started waking up.
okay. And that's what happened Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
around 2:30? Okay.
Did all the kids sleep?
Yeah.
None of them like stayed up or cried, or you don't remember anything like that?
Usually they sometimes wake up, but some of them have binkies. So, and then they drop it from their mouth, and what we'll do,
Just
we'll
give it
go
back
over
to 'em.
there and gently, like, help them find it, and then they go back to sleep.
Okay. All right. So now they're off. Now what?
We just turn on the lights if they're all up, and as long as the cots are all put away, we put everything away and put everything up, finish changing diapers, put up the blinds, turn the lights, and then we play some music, other music instead of nap music.
And when was that about?
2:40, like 3 o'clock,
Two-
between 2:40 and 3.
Okay. All right.
And
Nothing unusual at that point? Okay.
and then after that, they were playing again. We let them play because we only try and do group time in the morning. But we were playing with them. They were playing with the balls that we have and doing more bubbles with them. And around 3:15 is when we fed them snack.
Fingerprint scanner at the front desk. Time-stamped punch-ins and punch-outs. Cribs versus cots. Who slept where? Who woke up when? She's building them a minute-by-minute reconstruction of nap time at a daycare center. And I want you to notice something. The detectives aren't asking about Benjamin specifically yet. They're letting her talk. Letting her establish a baseline. Because later, when her story changes by even a single detail, they'll have hours of her own words to compare it against. This is how long-form interrogations work. Patience first, pressure later.
Okay. All right.
And again, there was no problem. Everyone ate all their food.
Okay.
And then as soon as they were done, we took them out, washed them down, make sure they were cleaned
Is
up.
it still in the same room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Made sure that they were all cleaned up, and then took off their beds and everything, did all the dishes.
Okay.
And Miss Nancy came in to relieve Wendy.
What time was that?
It was like 3:20.
Pretty certain about that time.
Yeah.
How do you know?
I'm like, it's too much. It's too hard to to forget everything, because I was in there pretty much all afternoon. I didn't leave her at all.
Okay. So Nancy relieves Wendy at 3:20.
Yeah.
And then what?
After that, she was finishing up with the dishes.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Wendy left the room.
yeah, Wendy was off. She went home.
Oh, she left, okay.
Yeah, she was off.
3:20. She knows exactly when Nancy came in to relieve Wendy. Not around 3 or sometime in the afternoon, 3:20. And she explains why she's so certain. She was in that room all afternoon and didn't leave. This level of detail matters because later, prosecutors will argue she's constructing an alibi. But right now, she sounds like someone who genuinely remembers her day. The question that will define this case is whether that certainty is evidence of innocence or a rehearsed cover story.
Okay, what I want to do is, and what we're talking about is, I just want to clarify some times, right around the time we started noticing a problem with Ben. Who was in the room, what time did this all start occurring? So if you can go over that with me one more time.
I was probably by myself for like at least like almost half a minute.
And that's when
Everything started happening. It was like around like
you were by
4.
yourself because Nancy,
She went to the kitchen real quick to drop the dishes.
to drop the dishes or to clean toys?
No, drop the dishes off.
Okay.
To get sanitized.
And what time was that about?
It was about like 4.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
everything happened. And when it was like 4, not even 4:05, not even close to that. That's when I went over and like said, Ben, stay awake. And like I was like, Ben, he didn't respond to me the other time that I went to him. So that's when Crystal heard me outside from the door, and the door wasn't even shut that much all the way. And then she came in.
What's Crystal's assignment? I mean, what does she do at that time?
She was. I think she was relieving teachers actually,
Okay.
because she does all sorts of stuff there.
Mhm.
But she's like all over. She's a floater.
Okay.
And then she was like, Ben, and that's when I got told that we need some more help. And then Crystal made it sound like a little, because I didn't want to say it over to a point where if freak out. I was in a calm stage and everything, telling her I need help, of course. And then Crystal had Ben, and then she stuck her head. She's like, Beth, I really need your help. Come quick. And then that's when we started CPR.
So Crystal said to Beth?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Beth was right around the corner and someone was coming. But then when Crystal said, I need your help, come quickly. And then that's when everyone started. She came in, she got on the phone right away.
Didn't you call Beth?
Yeah, she was coming, but then we couldn't wait. So Crystal and Ben, and they heard me. She was coming. No, she was coming, and then Crystal said it again too. So before everything, because I was just getting the kids out of the way and everything.
So this is all kind of happening around 4:05. How many minutes before Beth gets in there?
Oh,
CPR?
not even a minute.
Okay.
Because when Beth came in right away, we were moving the kids, and then Beth got on the phone right away and called 911. And then at the same time, when Beth was on the phone, Crystal was already doing CPR. She was doing what we were supposed to, because we're all licensed and certified.
To do CPR?
Yeah.
Who went to the kitchen?
Nancy.
Did she come in the room right away?
No.
How far is the kitchen from the room?
It's a minute, not even a minute away.
Did you call Crystal specifically, or?
No, Crystal heard me, and then.
She heard you just saying Ben.
Yeah, and
Real
then I need your,
calmly?
and that's when she came in, and then she's like.
Because you said Ben, and you were real calm. I mean, why would she come in if you were just trying?
I wasn't saying calmly. When I said it, she heard me screaming, and then I got on the phone.
So you started screaming?
A little bit.
What were you screaming exactly?
I was saying his name.
Here's what gets me about this exchange. She's walking them through a chaotic medical emergency step by step, and her timeline holds. Crystal heard her calling for Ben, Beth was already on her way. CPR started within a minute. This isn't someone stumbling through a fabricated story. This is someone describing the worst moment of her professional life in granular detail. And yet, none of this mattered at trial. The jury never heard testimony about coercive interrogation techniques. They never heard that false confessions account for roughly 30% of wrongful convictions, later overturned by DNA evidence. Melissa Calusinski is still in prison today, serving a 31-year sentence. Benjamin Kingan deserved justice. The question that will follow this case forever is whether that's actually what happened.
Okay, somebody who's in the child care industry, very rarely are they going to be in there for malicious or evil purposes. They're there to do what? Take care of children and do good, be what's called a caretaker, right? Definitely based, and that's why I was asking you kind of about your work history. This is something that's part of your career. You obviously are not an evil person. I can tell that. I mean, I could tell that the minute, in our job, we have to, for our own safety, and just because it's the nature of our job, we have to do what's called immediate assessments of individuals, because we only have a second to react sometimes, right? When we look at somebody like you, and that's what Sean and I have been having a couple of discussions, here's a person that, under bad circumstances, bad timing, wrong place, wrong time, maybe indirectly have knowledge of something, but is compelled not to because they're scared. And I know, this is big. I mean, it really is. This is a 16-month-old baby. I mean, this is somebody's child. This is somebody who won't have a future. These are parents that will never see this child grow again. And in this situation, these are parents that are going to watch a twin sibling grow. And that alone is going to be painful because they're actually going to watch the twin of the child who's now dead grow up not knowing what that child's future would hold or anything. So not that we take anything less seriously, but a child's death or any injury to a child goes right to the top of the list, okay? Our job here isn't to condemn. Our job here isn't to judge. Our job here is just to find out the facts, put the situation to rest, give the parents some closure, and just put this off to the side. There are situations where evil people do evil things. You know that. Serial killers out there. You were a victim of a sexual assault. So you understand personally, on a personal level, what intent and evil is. There are other people that, under bad circumstances, get into situations where they don't have any choice because of the circumstances. You pull out of your parking lot to go home, suddenly somebody blows a red light, you hit them, somebody in the car dies. Does that make you an evil person? No, you're a person of circumstance. A situation like this, we know, and this is why we're talking to everybody, that there's more to this than just suddenly somebody being lethargic, not sleeping. We know that. Okay? We're giving everybody who has knowledge of this an opportunity to tell us. Obviously, this is highly important because they don't call us in just on minor cases. It's major cases. Okay? We're very good at what we do. Very good. And I'm not going to give you our resumes, but some of the most infamous murder cases in this county have been solved by us. Homicide is a fairly general term. What that means is that the death of the child was not caused by natural reasons. It was caused by something unnatural. So don't let that term eat away at you. All that means is that he didn't die of a heart attack or a pre-existing medical condition, that there were some unusual circumstances. And in this case, there is an unusual circumstance. I'm going to tell you that Sean and I both firmly believe, again, that just looking at you, and again, it's our job to read people. We do it for a living. That there's definitely things that you want to tell us that for whatever reason, in a lot of these cases we find out it's a little bit of guilt, a lot of anxiety, because you don't know what the right thing is. You got to think back to before you maybe were even an adult, and the right thing was always to tell the truth. And the more you don't tell the truth, the further into that story starts getting more and more and more out of control until it's at a point where we can't control it anymore. All right? And then there's discrepancies in what you say, what they say, what you said, what actually happened. So the more this goes on, and the longer period of time that we don't uncover the truth, the worse it is for everybody, including you.
And there it is, the classic interrogation pivot. We're not here to judge. We're not here to condemn. That line has preceded more coerced confessions than any threat ever could. What they're doing here has a name. It's called minimization. Offer the suspect a morally acceptable narrative. Wrong place, wrong time. Tragic accident. Not your fault. And let them step into it. The Reid technique has been standard police training since the 1960s, despite mounting evidence that it produces false confessions at alarming rates. They're not looking for truth. They're looking for a story she'll sign.
I would like to know.
Well, we want to know exactly what happened here. And we need to know from you what you know about this beyond what you've told us. And I can tell you, and please, don't mistake, don't make a mistake and not tell us the truth. Because we're very close scientifically of putting pieces together. We need you to finalize that piece for us and tell us exactly what happened. And you're a good person. Reach down inside yourself and help this family. For crying out loud, it's a baby who didn't have a chance. We need to bring some closure to this and figure out what happened here.
Help this family. That phrase right there is doing a lot of heavy lifting. They're invoking a grieving family to pressure a 22-year-old daycare worker into giving them something they can use. And notice the scientific claim. We're very close scientifically. That's not evidence. That's a bluff. Illinois interrogation guidelines don't require officers to be truthful about what evidence they have. They can lie about forensics and DNA and witnesses. Most people don't know that. Melissa certainly didn't. She thought she was having a conversation. She was being cornered.
Accepting part of the responsibility. That's what the perception is going to be. So if Nancy did something inadvertently and you feel that maybe a little guilty about not reporting it right away or not taking some kind of action, don't. You're not a doctor. You're not a doctor. You don't have x-ray vision. Kids fall or kids hit their heads 1,000 times. I've got 2 kids, and the first one we treated like a China doll because we thought she would break. The second one would take tumbles all the time and and as you have more kids, you sort of grow immune and used to those types of injuries. If you saw something, and I'm starting to believe that maybe you did see something and you didn't take immediate action, that's not on you. You're not a doctor. But you need to tell us what you saw. And if it was Nancy, then we need to know that. That's very important. You're helping us. You're assisting us. That's going to benefit you, not just right now, but it's going to benefit you with your career and everything else that you came forward. You're a scared young lady. You've got 2 detectives. You're in a place where you don't know what's what. I would be reluctant to say things too. But you got to trust us. We're not here to condemn you. We're not here to put you in jail. We're here to come to the conclusions of what happened to a 16-month-old child. And if you have knowledge of that, you need to tell us. You need to tell us. And you need to accept the fact that another person did this, and that's fine. But don't just speculate. You were there. You saw what happened. What happened? What happened?
Sometimes.
Not sometimes.
I know.
What happened yesterday or Wednesday? What happened Wednesday? What happened? You know something happened. You know something bad happened. You know something real bad, and you probably stood there going, I wonder if that's as bad as it looks.
With Nancy, sometimes, when she handles, when Ben usually cries, I'm saying this, she probably did it,
Not
picks him up.
probably. We need exactly.
My back was turned, so she...
What did you hear?
I didn't hear anything. It was just...
So why are you
With
recalling a moment
Nancy,
when your back was turned?
When, if Ben was crying, because I don't remember much, I'm still in shock, like.
Right.
Listen, I know you are, okay? Even worse than not telling the truth is half-truths, okay? It's half-truths. You know, you've got over this. Look, you're an adult, and you're a smart person. You're not stupid. You don't have memory loss. You're not in medical shock, okay? What you are is in denial, and you're thinking, I don't want to be here. I don't want to accept that this is happening. I don't want to accept that he's dead. I don't want to be anywhere. If you had a choice right now, you'd be as far away from us as possible in this whole situation. If you had a choice, you wouldn't have come into work Wednesday. You wouldn't have been there. But you know what? You were there. You were a victim of circumstance, right? So don't be an offender. You know what an offender is? That's a bad guy. Be a witness. Be a witness. And you know clearly and sharply in your mind, and no one is blaming you for not taking some action, okay? No one is blaming you for that. But we need to find out exactly what happened, and we completely believe that you know what happened. And if it is Nancy, okay, in great detail, not my back was half turned, not I didn't see it, and hear it, and smell, but in great detail, you need to tell us this, and we need to put this to rest. We need to all go home tonight and have this entire situation put to rest.
I'm behind us.
Okay, we need to finish this today. We don't need you walking around a week from now, 2 weeks from now, looking at doubt, no closure. We don't need that. You don't need that. You can't possibly, and I'm a lot older than you, you cannot carry that burden of guilt. You can't do that. So you've got to tell us what you saw in great detail. Now, possibly, not probably, because you know 100% we know what happened, but we need you to tell us.
You're not a doctor. You don't have X-ray vision. That line is calculated. They're building her an escape hatch. Admit you saw Nancy do something, and we'll let you climb through it. This is textbook Reid technique. Offer the suspect a morally comfortable version of events that still gives you what you need. They're not asking what happened anymore. They're telling her what happened and waiting for her to agree. And that phrase, be a witness, not an offender, that's the threat wrapped in a bow. Cooperate or become a suspect. She's 22 years old, sitting across from 2 trained interrogators who do this for a living. The power imbalance here isn't subtle. It's structural.
Tell us what happened.
Before everything happened, I was giving them a snack. I just used, I cleaned them off and everything when they were all done. After I cleaned off Ben's hands and everything, I put him down, and he crawled. He was fine before all that, and I believe I changed his diapers. When I changed his diapers, like, he didn't hit his head or anything, and like, it's just questionable to me now if when Nancy held him, maybe if he threw a fit and like ran into something to a point where he hit his head hard.
Doesn't mean nothing. It
Oh,
doesn't
I
mean they're
know.
going to be better with kids.
Oh,
Or
I
it
know.
could be worse. We deal with people who kill their own kids.
I know, and she would get frustrated.
I get frustrated. I mean, everybody does.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
But and how she would sometimes pick them up. She wouldn't like support them. She'd just pick them up and like hold them like as they're facing towards you, and like hold them like that.
Was Ben sleeping during his nap hour
Yeah,
when Nancy was there?
yeah.
Was she mad at him and all that day?
No.
No one was mad at him?
He probably woke up around 2.
Who's the oldest kid in the room? How old?
It would have to be, let's see. No.
Over
I
2
know.
years old?
No, if they were over 2 years old, they would have been in another room. And we have another set of twins, but they're gone for the month. They're the oldest. They would be the next move over.
If you were involved in this in any way, would you tell us if it was an accident. You will understand that
Yes,
we're not
I
out to
would
get you and
complain.
put you in jail. That's not, people think of police and they get scared. We're just out to get the truth of the matter, help out the family with their recovery through this thing, and bring this case to a closure. We don't think that you went in there with a baseball bat and hit this kid over the head. We've never said that. Because if you're that type of person, we don't even want to talk to you. We're going to use all of our evidence and try to prove it and put someone like you away. But we don't think you're that type of person. We think this could have been either someone getting real frustrated or an accident. The last thing I want, since you're a good person, I don't want you to cover up for anybody.
I won't.
There's a certain law for covering up. It's called concealment of a homicide. Now, like, just because it might be called a homicide, like my partner said, that doesn't mean someone intended on killing him. It just means, you know, if someone gets hit by a car, that's actually, you know, a homicide until the coroner has an inquest and they rule it an accidental death. It doesn't mean it's an accident. But there is a charge for someone who intentionally and knowingly lies to detectives during an investigation where it's classified as a possible homicide, and it's not a nice charge. So I would hate to find out later that you're trying to protect your sister or Nancy.
No, I'm
Because
not,
I
yeah.
guarantee you right now that they're talking to detectives, and they're going to know right away who's guilty and who's not.
I never, ever would cover up for anybody, not even for a death.
If you did something that was an accident, though,
I would say something.
you're smart enough to know that you didn't mean to do it, right? If you lost your temper and maybe cracked someone, would you tell us?
Yeah.
You would? Have you ever thrown a kid against a wall?
No.
Have you ever hit a kid's head against anything? Never?
Never.
Did you ever hit Ben?
No. I've known them since they were really little. And when I first started subbing, in January, I went over there to sub. That's where I first saw them, the twins. They were still babies.
What are the other workers going to say about you, how you handle the kids?
They'll say that I handle them very well. I don't.
Do you get aggravated easy, or do you?
Not really. No.
Watch her try to hand them Nancy. She's not accusing anyone. She's floating possibilities because they've made it clear that someone has to be guilty, and she doesn't want it to be her. That line about Nancy not supporting the babies properly when she picked them up? That's a 22-year-old, grasping for anything that might satisfy two detectives who won't let her leave until somebody takes the fall. And the detectives know exactly what they're doing. They dangle concealment of a homicide like it's a worse outcome than confession. They're not investigating anymore. They're closing a deal.
I've never seen anything like that ever. And I would definitely come clean and say if I did see anything, I would say something. I would. I don't hide anything. I don't cover up for anybody.
Were you out with your sister Wednesday or Thursday night?
No.
You didn't see her after work?
No. She went home.
So no long conversations on the phone? Nothing like that?
No. We would she would call, check up on me and see how I was doing because I was scared at the time when she was doing CPR and everything. I left to go put the other kids in another room when they were still doing CPR still, and that's when the paramedics came. But yeah, I would never do anything to those kids, ever. Never put my hand on a kid.
I would never put my hand on a kid. She says it like it's obvious, like it should end the conversation. And here's the thing, nothing in her employment history contradicts that. No complaints, no incident reports, no pattern of violence or even impatience. What you're watching is someone whose self-understanding simply cannot accommodate what they're being told she did. That dissonance isn't necessarily proof of innocence, but it is what genuine confusion looks like under pressure. And after hours in that room, it's only going to get worse.
But that's
sometimes the most.
That's
sometimes the most important thing you could do is to summons more advanced medical personnel. That's the most important thing, number one. That's how we're trained too. The most important thing you could do is get on the phone so more people come that know more than we do. So you did do something to help them. But we don't want you to be afraid to tell us because you know, you were afraid you're going to lose your job, and you thought it would be okay because you see kids fall every day. You probably see a kid fall every day, literally, like fall down. We don't want you to be afraid to tell us that, because at the end of this investigation, like, we're going to have so many people working on it, so many specialists. We're going to know exactly probably what caused the injury.
Okay.
Right now, we got a team. They're probably closed down the nursery by now. I don't know if you're probably not aware of that. They're probably closed it down by now, but we got a team of evidence technicians.
Okay.
And they're sketching
Crime scene
the room.
investigators,
Okay.
CSIs.
They're sketching the room, the floors, and at the end of this, might be not today or tomorrow, they're going to know exactly what caused this injury to his head. I mean, because there's certain things that could cause a certain injury.
Yeah.
You know, we actually have very good photographs of his injury.
Okay.
And then, even though it's
Was
not
it in
always
the back of the head or in the front of the head?
That's what he asked.
I'm just kind of curious. Maybe I could rethink, you know, and maybe see if it was from the back of the head. Maybe he, you know, Crystal probably, when she was doing CPR, when she picked him up and put him on the change table, maybe he hit his head really good because it bounced up a little bit. Maybe that could have been the reason when she put him down. You know what I mean? So, like, for his head to kind of bounce a little bit, but, like, she didn't bounce him, like, hard when she put him down. She was doing the CPR. I made sure I had the kids stand back, and I got all the kids out of the way. Because, like I was saying earlier, I had the kids in the kitchen. So, maybe, you know, that's what could have happened when she was performing CPR.
Did you see his head bounce?
A little, yes, I did.
And she was only trying to help him.
Yes, she was trying to help him.
What's the table made out of? What is
It actually had it was our changing table. It had a mat on it though.
Oh,
and
mat.
then underneath it though was hard.
But he would have hit his head on the mat, right?
Yeah, but it was the mat was kind of hard.
That would have caused this injury.
That's the only thing though I'm thinking.
Is there any way that an accident might have happened and you were afraid to tell someone because you thought everything would be okay? You didn't
No accidents whatsoever.
No?
I never,
And what about him hitting his head and, you not paying that much attention to it and then being re-aggravated on that changing table? Could that have happened?
That could have. With him hitting his head, yes. But I made sure the clear way when I would pick him up, because when I changed him from a nap, he wasn't acting like that. He was fine. He let me change his diaper and everything. But when I place them, and when I place even every kid now in my room, I hold their head and I gently put them on the changing table so that they wouldn't hit anything. And I made sure of that. But when he would seriously do this, and then he would try to put him down, sometimes he would hit his head on the changing table, on the mat though. And he would whine and cry because he didn't want to get his diaper changed. So
it's safe to say 45 minutes before he started losing consciousness, the only people in this room were you and Nancy.
yes.
So if someone did this to him, it would be safe to say that the only people that could have done something to him would be either you or Nancy. Is that if it happened within 45 minutes of this?
I agree, but I don't even know what I could have done to make him hit his head.
Like I said, this is a substantial injury. If he hit his head to cause this injury, you would know.
I would.
You would know.
Now they're showing her the exit. Could an accident have happened and you were afraid to tell someone? That's not a question. That's a script. They're handing her a confession wrapped in understanding. And notice what she does. She doesn't take it. She keeps trying to reconstruct events honestly. The changing table, the mat, Crystal doing CPR. She's problem-solving out loud because she genuinely doesn't know what happened. Meanwhile, the detectives have already decided. They're not gathering facts anymore. They're waiting for her to say the words they need.
But not saying you meant it to happen, but you would know. Because I know you're very careful and everything, but I'm very careful with my son, and I'm paranoid because of all the shit that we go through and we deal with. But I mean, I've hit my son's head, to tell you the truth, on a door frame once, carrying him through. I mean, it happened. It was an accident. I didn't mean. I thought.
Oh, he's done that too.
But there's stuff I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to believe that there's never any accidents, or I'm almost worried when he's on the changing table because they flay around so much and they go crazy. And I'm afraid sometimes when I get his clothes, sometimes I have to put him down on the floor because I know he'll jump right off it in 1 second. They're so quick, babies. When I put him down, he turns on his stomach, I swear to God, in 2 seconds. And he thinks it's a joke. He thinks it's a game. So it's hard for me to believe that there's never no accidents because I'm only watching one, and you love these kids, I know you do, but when it's your own kid, you'll see someday you're really, 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 there's even more love for the child.
No.
And when that stuff happens to me, even with one kid, I can't imagine how someone could take care of 8 kids and there not be mishaps.
We understand that you're looking out for yourself. We understand also that maybe given 24 hours and rolling this back in time, that if we were there and we talked to you almost immediately, that people, when they're in an incident like this, traumatic like that, they really, really want to tell you immediately what happened. Police officers involved in shootings, as we investigate those, officer wants to tell you right away what happened. He wants to get that off of his chest and say, you know what, the guy pointed a gun at me. I want everyone to know that what I did and why I killed him was justifiable. But we don't interview them right away, so they have to sit and they have to wait. And that causes some issues. That causes them to manipulate story. And it's like it's a human reaction for you or anybody else to contrive a story or think things to put yourself in a better light. Mm-hmm. And it's very, and I'm not insulting you, please. Don't take this as an insult. It's almost amateurish, and it creates the opposite effect. It makes you look like you're concealing something.
Like I'm hiding something?
Correct. That's it. It makes you look like you're hiding. So, if you take an incident that was not intentional and it escalated into something, worse, you're not a doctor, you don't have a crystal ball in your hand to predict what could happen.
Okay.
Right? And now all of a sudden, we have no, but we're saying yes, there's a medical factor. Something did happen, okay? And you're very smart. Let me tell you, I'm going to compliment you because you brought up a couple of points in our conversation, of points I've given you about skulls and kids, things like that, and that's great. But don't base your story on things I'm telling you. I'm trying to be honest and factual with you.
Okay.
Okay. I'm laying things out here. I'm not bringing props in here and laying things down and saying, we've got fingerprints and we've got that. I'm being completely honest with you. We find out, because we do this all the time, that lying to a person on our end doesn't achieve anything. Because if we get caught in a lie, our credibility is crap. You're not going to believe a thing I say as soon as you catch me in a lie, right? You got to look at it from our perspective. That's the way we feel about you. It's all about credibility and all about honesty.
Okay.
It's like God forgives, we don't. Because once you've told a lie or continue to escalate that, it's worse and worse and worse and worse. And then at some point, when this all comes to fruition, and it will, it's either going to be through you, if it's through somebody else, and it will, by day's end, it will be, it would preferably be you who tells us exactly what happened and put yourself in a positive light. Don't let somebody else railroad you down the river, or don't let these exigent facts paint you into a corner.
God forgives. We don't. That line right there tells you everything about what this room actually is. This isn't a search for truth. This is a sermon with handcuffs at the end. And the detective's little speech about honesty and credibility? Studies on the Reid technique show officers routinely lie about evidence during interrogations. They just told her they don't lie because it ruins credibility. That itself is a lie. They're preaching accountability while running a manipulation playbook that's produced wrongful convictions for 60 years.
we believe that something happened. We just want to, the problem with child victims is their children. They can't tell us.
Because they can't speak.
They can't. And now in this case, forever. Okay? But then we have to rely on everything else. We have to rely on science. That talks to us. Okay? But that only gives us a portion of the fact and the truth. Science can't tell us human emotion. Science can't tell us luck or probability or chances or bad luck or accidents. Science can't tell us all that to exact details. Only the person who was involved in that can tell us that. And that's why we're really sitting here frustrated a little bit, because I hope you understand, we're trying to give you every single opportunity there is. Every single opportunity there is to talk to us and clear the air on this thing and just put it to rest. So we can get on the phone, we can call our bosses in Lincolnshire and say, okay, Melissa's been straightforward with us. This is exactly what happened. Here's the timeline. We are convinced that this is what happened during this timeline, and we're done here. That's all we're asking. If there was an injury that occurred, and by the time your sister, who, I'm telling you, in good faith, ran in there and tried to give CPR, bad people don't do that. They don't care. They walk away. They run away from that. They don't want anything to do with that. Right? Bad people don't have a conscience. You know what I mean? In the word sociopath or psychopath, it's one and the same. Those are people who have no emotions. They operate physically and mentally every day like normal people. You couldn't tell them, but inside they're dead.
Science can't tell us human emotion. That's what he just said. And he's right, which is exactly why he's using it against her. This is textbook minimization. They're building a bridge for her to walk across. Bad people don't give CPR. Bad people are sociopaths. You know what that speech is? Permission. They're giving her permission to confess by promising she won't be labeled a monster if she does. The Read Technique Manual literally instructs officers to contrast the suspect with worse criminals. They're not asking what happened. They're selling her a version of herself she can live with, one that happens to include a confession.
Seriously, because if Gwendy tells us something contrary, because she saw this, right? Okay.
Yeah, when he threw himself down.
Okay.
And threw himself down from where?
And on the carpet.
Where was he?
When he threw himself down.
In the center of the room.
Was he
standing?
No, he was sitting up like crisscross.
Sitting on the floor on the chair.
Sitting on the floor.
And he flung himself back. When his head hit, can you describe what kind of action it made? Show me with your hand.
Like you just hear like a loud clunk.
Did his head bounce off of the carpet?
I couldn't tell.
Let me ask you this, and this is one of the most important questions you're going to answer. After everything happened and he was taken to the hospital, did you and Wendy ever talk about, do you think he hurt himself from when he hit his head? Never?
And other times though, he's done that, but not as hard. He has hit him, he's thrown himself.
He started crying right away?
Yeah.
And who picked him up?
I believe Gwendy did. It was me, Gwendy, and Nancy. That's what I remember.
Nancy was there too?
Yeah, it could have been Gwendy or Nancy. I'm still clueless, but he did do that.
Think about it. Who was with you?
Really important.
Okay. I'm gonna say Gwendy, maybe.
And did Gwendy pick him up?
And put him in his chair.
Okay. And did Gwendy say anything to you after she picked him up and put him in his chair? Okay. Did you think he had hit his head hard enough to cause some kind of serious injury? All the time we've been talking, did you feel that may have been what caused this? Yes? Okay. And you were reluctant to tell us why?
I wasn't thinking about it, thinking that, maybe when I stepped out of the room, he could have...
Well, you just told me you said you were worried about your job.
Yeah,
too.
Okay. You want some more water or a bathroom break or anything?
Mm.
All right. We're gonna take a little bit of a break, okay?
She just gave them the self-inflicted fall theory. Watch this carefully. Benjamin threw himself backward from a crisscross sitting position and hit his head on carpet. And instead of pursuing whether that actually matches the injury pattern, they pivot. Did you think that's what caused this? They're not interested in investigating the fall. They're interested in whether she'll attach herself to it. Here's the problem with pediatric head trauma cases. The science is genuinely contested. Forensic pathologists have testified on both sides of this case about whether Benjamin's skull fracture could have resulted from a short fall. The detectives don't know the answer either. But they don't need to. They just need her to commit to something, anything, that puts her in the room when harm occurred.
Let me tell you here. It's what we did here. We got a team. One of our teams is with a physician who specializes, in these types of injuries. He can look at the parameters of an injury, and based on the autopsy, that was performed yesterday. Do you know how an autopsy works?
They search and find.
They do
like an examination or try to find out.
Without getting into graphic details, they basically dissect the body. Okay, and they look at every aspect of the body, from bruising. They photograph. They look at bruising. They run blood toxicology for drugs. When it comes to cranial injury, a head, they'll of course look at the skull.
Okay.
They look at the size of the brain, they measure it, they weigh it. Have you ever seen photographs of what something looks like, underneath flesh where it's bruised or there's a clot?
Yeah.
Okay, it's very prominent.
Okay.
The entire process is very, very exact. They've been doing it for years. Okay, and I'm not going to go into forensics 101 with you with an autopsy, but they're able to tell down to the minutest detail the extent of the injury, what could cause it, what couldn't cause it. The brain sits in a liquid mass. Okay, so when a person gets a concussion, you heard that term. What happens is the brain swells and there's fluid around the brain, and it expands, and that's why it makes your head really ache. Okay, literally it swells. When the brain is also injured, it can bleed, and in an autopsy, the blood forms at the point of injury, and you can tell based on the bone, the damage, because a skull fracture literally means this bone here is broken.
Broken?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And it's not that easy, especially in an infant or a younger child, to break bone with mild impact because the bone is soft.
Okay.
Okay? So it's very flexible. In fact, the bone hasn't, the skull hasn't formed, so there's cracks where it floats and it moves. Okay? When you hit something, in your little physics lesson, there's a cause and an action. Okay?
Yes.
So, like if you're sitting in a car and you get rear-ended, what happens? Your body flings forward.
And it goes back.
Correct. It's the same thing the head does in the brain. Okay? When you're hit back a certain way, the head flings forward. Okay? And what does that do? It shifts. And that'll cause bruising on the brain. Point of impact, where the brain gets hit, is really going to be prominent.
Okay.
And again, I'm in the blow shop. We've examined photographs, and so is the doctor. And they've been at the autopsy, and it's obvious that there's an injury to the back of the head.
Forensics 101. That's what they're calling this. A detective is walking a 22-year-old daycare worker through brain swelling and skull fractures like she's a med student who needs tutoring. But here's what they're actually doing. They're establishing that science is exact and unchallengeable before they tell her what the science supposedly says. The problem? In 2009, pediatric forensic pathology was anything but settled. Experts would later testify that shortfalls can cause skull fractures in toddlers. The detectives don't mention that part. They're not teaching her medicine. They're teaching her that arguing with their conclusions is futile.
How long after that happened did she go out of the room?
It was like a minute later. And she didn't hear nothing because she had her back towards she had her back towards, she wasn't facing it. She was doing the dishes. So it was like, I wasn't even paying attention when I dropped him. Because I had to get the other kids out.
But you thought he was on his feet and you let go of him? Or did you drop him before his feet hit the ground? Did you think he was on the ground?
Yeah.
So his feet weren't on the ground? No? It's okay. But you got to tell us this. How high off the ground do you think he was?
This is all going to make sense.
Like this much.
Don't exaggerate stuff to think that it's going to make your story better, because it'll make it worse. Tell me exactly.
It wasn't that much off the
So
ground.
you thought he was on the ground and you let go? Is that what happened?
And he fell like that and hit the back of his head.
Because he was like leaning, he wasn't like leaning forward. He was sitting up, like, he was like up like this, like straight up. And like when he fell back, I heard him hit his head, I did. And then he just like went, like he like swung a little bit forward onto the floor. And then he was like that, and sat back up. And then he just crawled to his blanket, and that was it.
And then when he got to his blanket, you were still keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
And what happened?
He crawled to the chair, to his spot, and I was like keeping an eye on him. And then his sister and another kid was by him, and he was crying. They were cleaning everything, and then all of a sudden, like a second later, you just see him stiff and pale, and I called him, and no response, so I went to him, and I told him, I was like, Ben, he didn't wake up or anything. I shook his arm, like I said, and then I went to get the phone, and Crystal heard me, and that's when she came in, and I still was on the phone, saying that I need help, and then Crystal said, Beth, I need you in here, like, right away.
And you didn't tell Crystal what really happened?
No.
Because we got two guys we don't want to find out that she knows all about this.
Yeah.
And that you lied to us.
You didn't tell anybody. You just talked to your boyfriend about it.
No, he's not.
You didn't tell
I
anybody.
didn't know
They're not in
anything.
trouble if you
I
did.
know.
It'll actually give us some,
Yeah, no, I didn't.
witnesses to your story.
Yeah, no, I kept it to myself.
So we're not going to find out that this wasn't, your story is impossible. Is this the truth?
It is.
It is? So he wasn't quite on the ground?
No.
You thought he was? You let go? Did he hit the back of his ankles and fall back, or did his back just start falling back right
No,
away?
he hit the back of his ankle.
And then he hit at the back of his head so hard, he came forward right away?
Are these the types of chairs, like in that bottom picture?
Yeah.
That's it?
It was this,
What did he hit it on, the armrest or the back
the
part?
back part of this chair, because it was, kids, they know how to push out, and it wasn't the edge. Because, like, here was the chair, right around here, and the chair was pushed out, and it was moved from the kids, and that's when he hit it.
Is that the table in the room?
Yeah.
That is the table? Okay. Can you just do me a favor and circle the table and the chair and just put your initials next to it?
So you didn't slam him for doing anything wrong?
No.
Huh? Would you do something like that?
Never.
Never?
Never.
So this was clear that you just weren't paying attention, you thought he was on the ground? I just want to make sure, because, there's been a couple of stories, I want to make sure this is your final one. That's why I was asking you if you told anybody.
No.
Okay. Give us a minute, okay? Everything's going to be all right in the future. You're going to be happy that you got this off your chest, okay? Give us a second.
In the future, you're going to be happy you got this off your chest. That line right there. They're not promising her freedom. They're not even promising understanding. They're promising emotional relief, which is exactly what the Read Technique Manual recommends when a suspect is near breaking point. She's crying. She's circling chairs on photographs. She's agreeing to details she can't possibly remember with certainty. And the detectives? They step out. They let her sit alone with what she just said. That's not compassion. That's letting the trap close.
Melissa, the chair, when his head hit the chair, where was the chair in relation to the table?
It was moved away from the table.
And what happened to the chair after his head hit it?
And we just heard a loud move.
It didn't move, the
It
chair?
kind of wiggled, and that was it.
It wiggled?
Yeah.
Are the chairs real heavy?
No.
No.
Yeah.
It just wiggled?
Yeah, because it was on between the tile and the carpet. It was on like
The chair?
Yeah, the chair. There's like a curve where that stick of it was standing on it, and when you hit it, the thing wiggled.
What kept the chair from like falling back if his head hit the top of it?
The weight
The weight of what?
of the entire chair, the bottom of it, it wasn't light at all. It was probably heavier. It was heavier than the top part.
How heavy do you think the chair is? I mean, is it a heavy chair to pick up and move?
Mm-hmm.
Or you just think the weight kept it from moving? Okay. Do you think he weighed more than the chair? Okay. Was the chair, the legs, is it 4 legs, or is it, did you say half of them were on the wood and half was on the tile and half was on the carpet?
There was the center part, and right there was a line where the tip of it was at, where, it can wiggle, and when you hit it, it like moved, but it moved back.
The chair moved back? So if this was the chair,
Yeah.
he hit it, it has 4 legs going to the ground? Are all the legs on carpet?
No, they were the 2 legs were on the tile, and then the other 2, like on the, it was like sideways where the words, like this, and it was like this actually, because like the chair and everything, the blanket, is where he was trying to go at, and like when I dropped him, I wasn't paying attention, and then this was like on the rubber part to cover the ceiling or whatever, the round of the cement and the carpet, and like he hit it from the thing, like it went, like, it
Okay.
wiggled.
Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Have a seat.
We talked to the doctor, the pathologist is here, does the autopsies and does all the measurements, and we've got a couple of concerns about how far Ben fell and the chair, whether it was stationary, meaning solid. Okay.
It was on the corner of the rubber, and where it was split in the carpet, the tile, and the threshold, the hole, and one leg was on it, and then it was the little thing.
No, that's not what. That he's just wondering, like where you dropped the baby from, how high the baby was off the ground. The chair was pulled off from the table, you said?
Yeah, they pushed him out.
Mm-hmm.
And when I dropped him, he was like this much.
You mean that bottom of his legs were where your hands were? The bottom of his legs were?
Mm-hmm.
So he fell 2 feet to the floor?
Okay, so it was a little higher than what you told us. The bottoms of his feet were about it looks like about a foot, foot and a half off the ground, so the top of his head was probably about 3 or 4 feet. Okay. And did the chair move when he hit it?
Moved it.
The chair did?
It moved on the top.
Okay.
What they're gonna do is they're gonna bring that chair over here, and then the doctor, either over here, they're gonna bring the chair to the doctor, and he's gonna make sure that this is possible, because they can tell exactly if that's what caused the injury. But we want to make sure.
So that's what the prosecution built a murder conviction on. A woman standing in an interrogation room demonstrating chair positions and floor textures, while detectives wait for a pathologist to confirm whether her story is even physically possible. She's describing rubber trim and carpet edges and tile lines like she's assembling IKEA furniture from memory, while 2 investigators nod along and take notes. And here's the thing that should bother everyone watching this. The pathologist they're consulting? He's not there to determine what actually happened. He's there to determine whether her version can be ruled out. That's a fundamentally different question. Melissa Calusinski has been in prison since 2011. 31 years is her sentence. She remains incarcerated as of today, with her legal team still fighting for appeals based on coerced confession claims and disputed medical evidence. The forensic experts who have reviewed this case since her conviction cannot agree on whether Benjamin's injuries were consistent with the fall she described, or required the violent force the prosecution alleged. That uncertainty existed in 2009. It exists now. And yet she sits in a cell because a jury watched footage of an exhausted young woman agreeing to details she couldn't possibly verify and called it proof. What strikes me most about this entire interrogation is the fundamental disconnect between process and truth. These detectives followed their training. They applied pressure gradually. They offered emotional off-ramps. They waited for inconsistencies and pounced on them. By every metric of the Reed technique, they did their jobs correctly. And that's exactly the problem. The system worked as designed and produced a confession that may have no relationship to reality. Benjamin Kingan was 16 months old. He had a smile that lit up rooms, according to everyone who knew him. He was learning to walk and discovering the world the way toddlers do, with his whole body and no fear of falling. His family trusted that daycare center to keep him safe. Whatever happened that day, someone failed him. That is not in dispute. What remains very much in dispute is whether the person serving 31 years is the one who failed him, or whether the system failed twice. Once in that room where Benjamin stopped breathing, and once in this room where Melissa started confessing. I don't have a clean answer for you. The evidence is contested. The confession is tainted by hours of psychological pressure. The medical testimony is disputed by credentialed experts on both sides. What I do know is that certainty should require more than this. A conviction should rest on something sturdier than a crying woman agreeing to chair positions at hour 6 of an interrogation. If you found this case as frustrating as I did, then you might want to see another one where the interrogation footage tells an entirely different story. There's a case where a daughter sits across from detectives, calmly explaining that her father traveled a lot for work. She seems completely unaware that investigators already know exactly where he is. They found him under concrete. That one is worth your time, and it's waiting for you right now.